Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Oppressor Dog Armor Mod, which is being made by user Third Storm. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is some seriously impressive dog armor to help protect your four-legged friend. And I have been having so much fun with this particular set of armor, as even though it's not typically the sort of style I like, there are so many different stylistic modifications you can add to this that really you can pretty much make this set of dog armor look whatever aesthetic you're trying to match. It's pretty cool. Plus, with all of the actual defensive modifications, you can more or less effectively turn dog meat into a small tank, and that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So let's take a look at the sort of basics of this mod and what you do get. And we get the Oppressor Dog Armor in two parts, the chest piece and a helmet piece. And like with any suit of armor, you then also get it in the three sort of varieties of either light, sturdy being medium, and then of course heavy. So let's take a look at the light Oppressor Dog Armor, the most simplest form of this beautiful mod. And with the light Oppressor Dog Armor, you'll get 13 physical defense and 11 electrical defense, and has a number of modification slots for you to play around with this thing. And there are in fact more than you can see right here. It's pretty cool. You got a lot of options. Now, as for the helmet, this thing is just fierce looking. I mean, come on, look at those sharp metallic teeth in there. That on dog meat is a beautiful, beautiful thing, and will add an additional 10 physical defense and 6 energy defense. And all in all is just a pretty cool and well-made part. And again, with a lot of different modifications. Now, in the sturdy/medium category, this will up the defense at its most basic level to 26 physical and 21 energy, with the helmet adding a 20 physical and 16 energy, and then finally with the heavy armor upping the game to its base level of 38 physical, 31 energy, and the helmet having 30 physical and 26 energy. Now that's just at the basic level, again, with modifications, including Ballistic Weave, you can really up these to some pretty insane degrees. And that's just cool. Now let's actually take a look at these on our friend Dogmeat here. Now I have him wearing his normal sort of medium in-game standard dog armor, which though cool looking, I do kind of like its hodgepodge nature. It doesn't really protect a whole lot of him, both, you know, visually, but also defensive stat-wise. It's not great. Now, on the other hand, if we pop some of these onto him, you'll see the vast difference between the in-game dog armor and the Oppressor Dog Armor. Look at it. It's beautiful. Now, it has sort of that metal armor / raider almost-ish aesthetic, which is interesting. You still got the handle, of course, right there, which is good. And all in all, is pretty fierce looking, and I love it. Now, two things I want you guys to pay attention to, because honestly, between the light and the heavy armor, besides stats, there's not much that changes visually. For the light armor, we have the basic body here, but you'll notice two things. This leather strap right there, and the chest piece. Those functionally really are the only two things that change between the versions. So if we go back to Dogmeat's inventory and put on the medium armor, you'll notice the chest plate stays the same, but that leather strap now has a metal plate over it, adding a little bit of extra defense. And if we go to the heavy armor, you'll notice we get another small plate over here by where the leather strap was, and the chest plate has completely changed to a much sturdier version. So that's really all that seems to change between the versions, but, you know, It works. Oh, also, the helmet dog meat kind of has less vision. That just seems to be a thing. But, you know, oh well. But yeah, so there's not a huge amount of physical changes to the look. Those really come from the modifications. So let's actually grab the light armor off of Dogmeat here and go and take a look at what we do have. Now let's head down to the chest armor first, and we'll start up with the first category where we can change it between light, medium, or of course the heavy armor. But you'll notice we also have other options in here of strength pistons. Now the half strength piston will add 10% bonus to unarmored damage, and with the full strength pistons on the light armor, you'll get that same bonus, plus increases the staggering, which is good, and any increasing in staggering is good when Dogmeat attacks people. That's just fun. Now, on the medium armor, the half strength will also add to the armor rating and the energy resistance, as well as doing that 10% unarmored damage. And the full strength doing the same, plus increasing the staggering, so you're getting that plus 13 armor rating, plus 10 energy resist, plus 10 unarmored damage, and increased staggering. All good things. And then with the heavy armor, half strength getting 25 more armor rating, 20 energy resist, and that plus 10 unarmored damage. And then interestingly, with the full strength, I don't know if it's just a typo in here of it missing, but this one doesn't seem to have that 10% bonus like the other full strengths do. It just has the increased armor and energy resistance and the increased staggering. So I'm not entirely sure on that, but still, even without it, it's an awesome upgrade. Now the next category we have is the miscellaneous one, where we have all of the standard linings and additions to armor, from asbestos to deep-pocketed to lead-lined, etc. All the same things you can add to your armor, you can add here as well. Now the next is the Ballistic Weave, which, oh, is beautiful. Just imagine the Mark V Ballistic Weave plus the heavy dog armor. Yeah, again, you can basically make Dogmeat a tank with those sorts of stats, and it's wonderful. Now next is the color categories. Now we have two color categories here, and that's because this sort of main dog armor is split into two sort of sections. You have the main color, which will be all the major plates, all the large sections, and then basically this secondary color here, which will get sort of the more detailed color sections. And in the main section, you have an insane number of different things to paint. Over 50 total color schemes. It's awesome. And as you'll notice, a lot of them also change the stats, which is beautiful. It's just great. So not only do a lot of them change the color, the look, the feel of the armor, but it also will add different things, from armor rating to energy resist to helping stealth, hurting stealth, and everything in between. And it's just a huge number of different aesthetic choices as well, from Drab Camo to even one of the strange ones that I keep coming back to, Red Baron. You can have a Red Baron paint scheme, and that's just cool. And as for the secondary colors, you don't have quite the variety, but you do get a number of different colors, from aqua to black to dark blue to gray, junkyard straps, light blue, manila, etc. So not as many options, but still good to get those little color details. Now next is the mesh options, and these are really fun because they add additional things to the armor, such as this one, which, if you have a combat knife, will add a hunter's knife on the armor and a canteen, or a coil of rope, or a hunter's loadout rather, with a bedroll, sheathed knife, and canteen, a raider set of stuff with a few extra knives, a raider totem for, you know, being creepy, trapper's hunter, trapper's bedroll, all sorts of different things to add just fun additions to the armor, some of which also having additional stats. Now, the second alternate mesh option, we only have one thing in here, and that's a medic pump, so that dog meat can automatically use stim packs, so you don't have to run up to him to inject one in. If his health goes below 50 or to 25, he just takes one. And that's good, so you don't have to babysit him so much, which is just a wonderful thing. Now, the last option we have is the sort of standard slots here, where we just get more additional things we can change, like welded to add damage resistance and energy, tempered, again, just hardened, buttressed, just to add more resistances and make the armor even better. And that's all fun. Now, on the helmet, we're not done yet. We have the same sort of things here of the light armor, heavy armor, and the medium here, as well as the pistons. With these ones, let's start with the light, half strength, doing the unarmored damage again, but this time also plus 25% the limb damage. Full strength, adding the unarmed damage, the limb damage, and a 20% cripple chance, which is great. The medium armor, adding more armor rating, energy rating, plus those damage increases, and then with the medium full strength, adding the same sort of deal in there. And then with the heavy half strength, adding again even more armor rating, more energy resistance, and that unarmed and limb damage. And finally, with the full strength, adding all that stuff just in greater degrees and adding that crippling chance, which is wonderful. We then again have the miscellaneous category with all the same sort of stuff, from cushion to muffled, weighted, etc. Just the same stuff you can add to your armor. The ballistic weave once more to make yourself a tank. And then the color swaps, and once more we just have the huge number of different color options to paint the primary section of the helmet, and then the secondary colors to add a bit more detail in those same colors we had on the main body armor. And then we have the tertiary color swap, where we can actually make it out of junkyard signs, which is interesting. So you can, add more aesthetic to that, which is pretty cool. And finally, that same category before of welded, tempered, hardened, or buttressed. All just fun, good options. So you get a lot of great stuff here. And so, let's actually put these back on him so I can tell the difference between things, frankly. And go and take a look at 2 sets of armor that I made earlier. Now, one definite problem with these things, they don't really change the name too much with all the modifications. Really, it just changes between light, sturdy, or heavy. So if we actually go into his inventory and take a look at the heavy one that I made, go back to the... It would help if I wouldn't skip the category I needed. There we go. So we'll put on this heavy armor and switch it up. And as you can see, I went with, a sort of, I think this is the aged bronze on there, with a hunter's kit, so with a bedroll, a knife right there, and a canteen, so that we do get some fun little additions to our lovely friend Dogmeat. So, he looks a bit more interesting and different colored than that sort of standard metal, which is pretty cool. Now then, we also, if we go back into the inventory, can take a look at the light one. So, whoops, didn't mean to take them all. Oh boy, of course I'm going to do that. Lovely. Alright, well, let's pop all the light ones in here so I can figure out which one's which. Okay, so we have that dog. Ah, yes, there is the Drab Camel one. Perfect. The Drab Camo with... You can see the detailed bits, like on the corner of the helmet there, and sort of the going around there, and there on the handle. I had added the blue paint as the secondary color to add just a bit more contrast to things, and added a bunch of rope. And he also has the medic pump right here, so he will take those stim packs so long as they are in his inventory. And that That's just a wonderful and fun thing. And I have been having, again, just so much fun with this mod overall because, I mean, come on! It's dog armor that's more impressive and has a huge number of modifications, improvements, and armor increases. So if you'd like to take a look at this mod for yourself, which I would definitely recommend you go and do, you can take a look at the link in the description as per usual. But that's going to be it for today, folks. I hope you have enjoyed, and of course that you do come back for the next episode. But until then, thank you for watching, and as always,
Come on.
have a good one!